I'm Callie Lewis. You're watching Geek Brief TV. This is Brief 657, and guess what I have? As you know, the hugely anticipated launch of the Motorola Droid was on Friday. I went to a press event held at a Verizon store to get a hands-on with the Droid and some footage to share with you guys. Boring, but I'll take what I can get. Surprise, surprise, Verizon was nice enough to let me hang on to a Droid for 2 weeks, so I'm able to give you a more in-depth review. The Droid runs Android 2.0. Android is an open-source mobile operating system originally developed by and heavily supported by Google. If you use Google apps like Gmail, Calendar, or Google Voice, having Android is a very good thing. It means those apps are going to run smoothly and you'll get more out of them. More on that in a minute. Verizon has put a lot of effort into their network, and the hope here is that you don't get the amount of dropped calls or inconsistent service a lot of people complain about with AT&T. In my experience with the iPhones on AT&T, dropped calls are less of an issue than calls I have to drop because I can't understand the person on the other end or they can't understand me. The Motorola Droid provides vastly better sounding calls than my iPhones. In a perfect world, both phones would be available on both networks so I could tell if it's a hardware issue or a network issue. The Motorola Droid has the best screen on any handheld device I've ever seen. It's a 3.7-inch touchscreen with a resolution of 854 by 480. That's over 400,000 pixels, and you can definitely tell a difference. We're showing you the Droid playing a movie in HD. The Droid screen is brighter and richer and 0.2 inches bigger. The downside? No multi-touch in the US. It's capable of multi-touch, and the GSM version in Europe has multi-touch enabled, but we're not allowed here in the US. Instead, you double tap to zoom or use the plus and minus buttons on the screen to zoom in or out. If you've been using an iPhone, you're going to naturally want to pinch the screen. The Droid's method of zooming isn't bad. It has nice animation, but precise pinch and zoom is better. The best part about the 5-megapixel camera isn't the additional pixels. What I liked was the software-based zoom. I was taking a picture of some Thai soup when I discovered the feature by accident. Just double tap the screen to get up close and personal. You can snap the photo from the screen, or you can use the physical button on the side of the phone. Just like on a regular camera, hold the button halfway down to focus and then click to take your photo. The Droid has both an on-screen keyboard and a physical slider keyboard. iPhone users tend to agree with Apple that physical keyboards are overrated, and I'm in that camp. However, there is a large market for whom the iPhone is off the table just because it lacks physical keys. No amount of Apple evangelism is going to convince someone who insists on a keyboard that they really don't need it. I say Motorola was smart to zig where Apple zagged. It's important to point out, though, since the keys are flush, there isn't really any tactile difference between the virtual keyboard and the one with real buttons. The biggest advantage of the slider keyboard, whether you think it's necessary or not, is that you can type and enjoy the full screen at the same time. One of my favorite things about the Droid is that it allows you to run up to 6 applications at once. This is one of the main complaints from power users about the iPhone. Being able to listen to Pandora while browsing the web and tweeting is huge for me. I do it on my laptop, and that desire doesn't change just because I'm using a smaller device. Apple doesn't allow that because having 6 applications all processing data at the same time puts the phone at risk of a crash. I totally get that. However, I'd rather have the choice to take that risk. I mentioned Google Apps before, and I want to get back to that. I don't know how many of you are in the same situation as me. I can't use the Mail app on the iPhone or any Mail app on any phone because I use Gmail. That wouldn't be a problem. The iPhone supports Gmail, except I use labels and filters like crazy. Most of my mail is sorted automatically and doesn't even see the inbox, so anytime I can't easily see and use my labels on the go, I'm severely crippled. Since Google supports Android, they've made it possible for me to use the Gmail app successfully without having to go into the browser. Thank you, Google, thank you! There are 10,000 apps in the Android store market. There are 100,000 apps in the iPhone store. No surprise there, Apple has a head start. That said, there are plenty of Twitter apps, if nothing else. With the ability to run apps in the background, you're able to set up Twitter apps, for example, to notify you when something new arrives in your feed or direct message inbox. Having these notifications on the Droid is a great way to save on SMS costs if you don't have an unlimited plan. One thing I was super excited about was the turn-by-turn navigation with voice commands. No need to pay for an app, it's already installed when you buy the phone. The voice is very synthetic, but it works, and it speaks in complete sentences. One of the coolest possibilities you get with the Motorola Droid requires an additional purchase. It's just $30 though, and it's a dock for charging the phone. What's special about it is that it turns the phone's display into a digital photo frame, a widget display, and an alarm clock. When you set the phone on the dock and use it as an alarm clock, you can dim the time and set the alarm. Motorola promises 6.5 hours of battery life when used continuously. I'm getting 10 or 11 hours with normal use. If you're ready to buy one, let's talk price. It'll be $199 with a 2-year agreement. This is after a mail-in rebate, but David Pogue from the New York Times says that if you buy it from Best Buy, you'll get an instant rebate. Voice plans start at $40 a month for 350 minutes, and data plans start at $30 a month. The mainstream media keeps looking for an iPhone killer. That's not me. I want the iPhone to continue to succeed, but I want other alternatives to succeed too. I haven't been looking for an iPhone killer. I've been looking for a smartphone that plays effectively on the same field. The Motorola Droid does that. Will I buy one? I have a couple weeks to decide, so I'm going to take advantage of that. My sense so far, though, is that moving from the iPhone to the Droid will not be a downgrade, and in a few ways, like call quality and Google Voice integration, it will be an upgrade. I'll write more about my experience with the Droid on my blog at www.callielewis.me. This episode was brought to you by Squarespace.com. The actor and chat show host Kevin Pollak is using Squarespace.com for his site, kevinpollak.tv. It's the easiest way to build a great-looking website, and my promo code GEEK will save you 12%. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Oh, sorry. I just got excited.